You're listening to Indepth SEO. In-depth conversations on how search, content, and AI really work.
Welcome to SEO Deep Dive by Indepth SEO. My name's Mark.
And I'm Sarah. It's great to be here.
You know, it's funny. We're well into 2026 now. And I was looking at some analytics for a client just yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, an e-commerce brand. And the traffic patterns, the sources, they look nothing like they did even just a couple of years ago. It's kind of wild.
It's a completely different landscape, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, back in, say, 2023, the playbook was pretty straightforward.
Oh, for sure.
You find a keyword, optimize a page, get that blue link, somebody clicks it, they buy a t-shirt. Done.
A nice, clean, linear path.
Exactly. And now that path looks more like a scatter plot. It's fragmented. I'm seeing traffic coming in from places that, frankly, didn't even exist back then. And the core organic search traffic, the bread and butter.
It's changing.
It's plateauing.
Good.
For some of the big money keywords, it's even dipping. It feels like this invisible erosion is happening.
And that's the zero-click reality we're all living in now.
Yeah.
It's really setting in.
Right. So the interest is still there. People are still searching.
The volume is there, definitely. But the clicks are going somewhere else.
And that's because we're not just dealing with search engines anymore, are we?
Not at all. We're dealing with what you'd call answer engines.
Answer engines.
And decision engines. And now what's really emerging are these fully autonomous AI agents that can actually shop for you.
So the whole metaphor is wrong.
Yeah.
I used to think of it like a library where you'd go to find a book.
Exactly. And now it's more like a concierge desk.
Where you just ask for the answer and they give it to you.
They give it to you right there. You might never even touch the book.
And I think that's the panic point for so many people listening right now. I hear it constantly. I used to just stuff some keywords into my product description, buy a few links, and it worked.
And they want to know why it's broken.
Yeah, why isn't that working anymore? They think the algorithm's broken, but it's not, is it?
No, not broken at all. It's mutated.
Mutated. I like that.
I mean, the rules haven't just changed. We're playing a completely different sport now.
From baseball to basketball.
Right. We've moved from a system of retrieval, which is just finding a list of links,
The old 10 blue links.
to a system of synthesis, which is generating a single cohesive answer. And if your website is still built for retrieval,
You're in trouble.
you're going to be completely invisible to a machine that's built for synthesis.
So, okay, that is our mission for this deep dive. We're going to break down the winning strategies for e-commerce, SEO, and AI search for 2026.
We're going to get into it.
We'll cover how to rank when there aren't even any links to click. We'll talk about why your product pages probably need, a personality transplant.
They really do.
And we'll get into the technical plumbing, the actual code you need to have in place to survive.
We're even going to talk about something called the Agentic Commerce Protocol
Okay.
and a tiny little file called llms.txt that might be, and I'm not exaggerating, the most important text file on your entire server right now.
Wow. Okay, but before we get into the weeds, I want to address the skeptics.
Sure.
Because I hear this too. This is all hype. AI is just a shiny object. People still just Google things.
Right. The "this too shall pass" argument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So give us the numbers. What are the stats that prove this isn't just a trend, but a fundamental shift?
Okay, let's start with this one. Google Lens. Visual search. People searching with their cameras.
I use it all the time.
It's grown by 85% year over year.
85,
Yeah.
that's almost doubling every year.
It's a massive behavioral shift. People aren't typing red floral dress anymore.
No, they're snapping a photo of someone they see on the street.
The camera is the new keyboard. It really is.
Okay, that's a big one. What else?
Let's talk conversion. AI chatbots on your store. A lot of people still think they're gimmicky.
Yeah, annoying little pop-ups.
But the data shows they can jump your conversion rate from an average of, say, 3.1%
You are.
all the way up to 12.3%.
Wait, a fourfold increase? Just from a chatbot?
Just from answering questions instantly and guiding the user. It's the difference between an empty store and a store with a helpful expert greeting you at the door.
That makes perfect sense. Wow. Okay, give me one more. The scary one.
All right, the scary one for any traditional SEO professional listening. 60%.
50% of what?
60% of all searches are now zero-click.
Meaning the user never leaves the Google results page.
Exactly. They get their answer from an AI overview or a featured snippet, and they never, ever visit a website.
So 6 out of 10 times someone is looking for something you sell, they're not even knocking on your digital front door.
That's it.
That sounds absolutely terrifying if your business model is built on getting traffic. How do you compete with that?
It does sound terrifying, but I actually think it's a huge opportunity if you know how to optimize for it. It forces us to stop thinking about getting the click and start thinking about getting the citation.
The citation? Okay, let's unpack that. That's the core of this whole thing, isn't it? The shift to answer engines.
It really is. What does that actually mean for a business owner on a day-to-day basis?
So traditional SEO was all about convincing a human being to click on a blue link.
Catchy title tag, #1 ranking, all that.
Exactly. But now we're in the era of GEO.
GEO. Okay, another acronym I have to remember.
No, sorry. Add it to the list. But it's generative engine optimization.
Right.
And it's not about convincing a human anymore. It's about convincing an AI agent like ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity
Machine itself.
that your brand is the core knowledge source on a topic. You want the AI to read your content and trust it so much that it uses your information in its answer.
So you're not trying to get the user to your site. You're trying to get the AI to your site to learn from you.
You want to be the primary source, the teacher's pet for the AI, in a way.
I like that. Be the one the AI copies off of.
That's a good way to put it. And this brings up a new metric that's become really important this year. It's called perception drift.
Perception drift. Okay, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. I saw it in the notes, and it's flagged as critical. What is it?
It does sound sci-fi, but it's actually a very practical, very real metric for 2026.
Okay.
It measures the gap between your brand's actual identity
Who you say you are?
and how the AI perceives your brand's digital identity.
So the difference between who I say I am and who the robot thinks I am based on everything it's read.
Precisely. Does the AI think you're an authority? Does it think you're reliable? It scans the entire web, Reddit, Trustpilot, news articles, forums, and if it finds conflicting information about your return policy, for example,
Or a lack of reviews.
or a lack of reviews, it flags your brand as unreliable.
And if you're unreliable,
You disappear from the AI's answer. It won't recommend you. It's too risky for the model.
that is brutal. It's like a credit score for your website's reputation.
That's a perfect analogy.
If you have bad credit with the AI, you don't get the loan, you don't get recommended.
And this ties directly back to that zero-click reality. You asked how you compete if no one clicks.
Yeah.
The answer is you fight for impression value and brand recall.
Impression value. So even if they don't click, they see my name in the AI's answer.
Exactly. Think about it. A user asks Google's AI, what's the best running shoe for flat feet?
A very common query.
And the AI comes back and says, the Brooks Adrenaline GTS is highly recommended by experts for its guide rail support system. It might even cite your store as a source.
The user might not click right then and there.
Probably not. But they saw the recommendation, they trust the AI, so later, when they're actually ready to buy, what are they going to search for?
Brooks Adrenaline GTS. Or they'll just go straight to the Brooks website.
You've won the mind share, even if you didn't get that initial attribution click. It's a longer game.
It's like a digital billboard. They see it, they remember it, they convert later.
That's the model.
But this brings up a huge technical challenge. If the AI is doing the recommending, and you mentioned sometimes even the shopping, I heard about this thing called the agentic commerce protocol. Is that really happening?
It is very real, and it's happening faster than people think.
Wow.
We're seeing the first generation of AI shopping assistants that don't just recommend products, they actually place the order.
So I can just tell my phone, hey, buy me more of that coffee I like.
And it just does it. It knows your preferred brand, your price point, your shipping address. It handles the whole transaction.
Okay, that's agentic commerce protocol, or ACP.
Right. And for your e-commerce site to even be an option for that AI agent, you need to speak its language.
Which is not HTML and CSS.
No, it needs endpoints, APIs. The AI agent doesn't care about your beautiful hero image or your clever font choices.
It doesn't want to browse a website.
It wants to send a secure request to your server to check your stock level, verify the price, and calculate the shipping cost, all without a human ever looking at your page.
That is a fundamental shift. We spend all this time on user experience design.
And that's still important for the humans.
But you're saying our most important customer in a few years might be a robot that only cares about clean, accurate data.
And it's ruthless. If your API says you have an item in stock, but the transaction fails because you're actually sold out.
The AI remembers that.
That AI agent learns to never shop with you again. You are
Sure.
optimized out of existence by that agent for all of its users.
Okay, so APIs for robots. It's a big project.
Mm-hmm.
But is there something we can do right now, a practical first step for handling these new AI crawlers? You mentioned a file,
Yes, lms.txt.
lms.txt.
This is a great tangible takeaway for everyone. We all know about robots.txt, right?
Sure. The file that tells search engines like Google where they can and can't go on your site,
Yeah.
the bouncer at the door.
lms.txt is the new bouncer.
Right.
But it's specifically for the large language models. The AI bots from OpenAI, from Anthropic, from Google's own models.
And it's not just about blocking them.
No, that's the key difference. It's about curation.
Explain that.
Why?
Wouldn't I just let them read my whole site?
More data is better.
Not always. Because not everything on your site builds a good reputation. lms.txt lets you tell the AI agents, hey, pay attention to this content for your training.
So you're pointing them to the good stuff.
You want them to read your detailed product pages, your expert buying guides, and your 5-star reviews. That's how they learn your products are great.
And what do you block?
You might block them from sensitive internal data, sure. But more strategically, you block them from your low-value content.
Like
Old, outdated press releases.
Yeah.
Or those thin, auto-generated tag pages that don't have any unique content.
the stuff that could confuse them or give them a bad impression.
Exactly. If the AI trains itself on garbage, it will output garbage about your brand. LMMs.txt gives you control over the data set that the AI builds about you.
So action item for everyone listening.
Right.
Make check if you have an lms.txt file. If not, you're just letting the AI wander around your house unsupervised. That's a perfect way to put it. You're leaving the front door unlocked and hoping for the best. It's a small technical detail, but it signals to the engines that you're ready for 2026.
Love that. It's actionable. Okay, let's pivot from the robots back to the humans for a minute.
Sure.
We still need to create content for people.
Mm-hmm.
I vividly remember the old days of SEO writing blog posts like, what is a shoe? Just to rank for the word shoe.
But the content mills, the dark ages.
Right. I mean, just painful thin content. A shoe is a piece of footwear intended to protect and comfort the human foot.
Pure keyword stuffing.
Please tell me that strategy is dead.
It is completely, utterly dead, and good riddance.
Thank goodness.
Here's the hard truth. AI summaries eat those kinds of generic queries for breakfast.
Yeah.
If a user asks, what is the history of coffee? The AI can answer that in 2 seconds.
It just scrapes Wikipedia and synthesizes a perfect answer.
Exactly. So if your content strategy relies on that basic informational content, you are obsolete. You are providing zero new value to the ecosystem.
So if I'm a coffee roaster, I can't write about the history of coffee anymore. What am I supposed to write about?
You have to move up the funnel from informational content to commercial and transactional content. We call this decision support content.
Decision support. I like that. It sounds helpful.
That's the whole point.
So give me an example. Instead of history of coffee.
You write, the best organic coffee beans for a French press under $20.
Oh, much more specific.
Or light roast versus dark roast. Which is better for cold brew and why?
I see the difference immediately. The AI can state facts. It knows what coffee is.
Right.
But it struggles with nuance, with opinions, with specific recommendations, unless it's pulling from a trusted expert source.
You're answering the question the buyer has right before they pull out their wallet. You're removing the final point of friction in their decision-making process.
And there's one type of this content that's just crushing it right now, isn't there?
The compare and contrast angle.
Yes. So a page titled, Our Brand versus Our Biggest Competitor. That has to scare a lot of marketing directors.
It terrifies them. They've been trained for decades to never, ever mention the competition's name.
But why does it work so well now?
Because AI models, these LLMs, function by looking for consensus and patterns. They love structured comparison data.
So you're basically feeding the machine exactly what it wants.
When you create a page that honestly compares your product to a competitor's feature-by-feature pros and cons, you are giving the AI the data it needs to answer a query like, how does brand X compare to brand Y?
But it requires a lot of confidence in your own product.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to be honest.
You do. But that honesty is what builds trust, not just with the customer, but with the AI.
How so?
If you're willing to say, hey, if price is your only concern, our competitor is a great choice. But if you need durability and a 5-year warranty, that's where we excel. The AI sees that.
It marks you as an objective, reliable source, not just a marketing page.
Exactly. It's the miracle on 34th Street strategy. Remember when Macy's sent a customer to Gimbels?
Because they didn't have the toy in stock. It built incredible trust.
It worked for them, and it works for algorithms. Trust is the currency of 2026.
It always comes back to trust. Okay, let's talk about the structure of the site itself. I feel like category pages are the most neglected part of most e-commerce sites.
The unloved middle child for sure.
Yeah, it's usually just a header, a grid of product images, and maybe a tiny sentence at the very bottom that says, "Shop our wide selection of men's shoes."
A total afterthought. But in 2026, those category pages are your money pages.
Why are they so important?
Because they capture the traffic from people who are shopping but haven't decided on a specific product yet.
The browsers, not the specific SKU searchers.
Exactly. Someone searching for women's leather ankle boots is in a consideration phase. They want to see the whole range. And if your category page is just a blank wall of images,
The AI and the search engine have nothing to grab onto.
it's just pixels. There's no context, no authority, no helpful information.
So how do we fix that without creating a terrible user experience? I don't want a huge wall of text pushing my products below the fold.
Right. Design is key. You need, say, 500 to 1,000 words of genuinely helpful content on that page.
But you hide it smartly.
You use accordions, read more tabs, a detailed FAQ section at the bottom. You add a buying guide, how to choose the right ankle boot for your style.
Or the difference between our suede and full-grain leather.
Care instructions for your new boots. You're turning the digital aisle of your store into a helpful sales associate.
And the data on this is pretty clear, right?
Oh, it's staggering. A well-optimized category page can bring in 3 to 5 times more organic traffic than individual product pages.
3 to 5x.
It is the single biggest missed opportunity I find when I do e-commerce audits. It's a goldmine.
That's huge.
Okay.
Staying on content, we have to talk about EEAT.
Google's favorite acronym.
Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. I keep hearing that the first E experience is the most important one now. Why?
It's a direct response to the flood of AI-generated content.
Makes sense.
I mean, anyone can use an AI tool to write a generic description of a blender. This blender has a powerful motor. It blends things smoothly. Great.
But the AI has never actually used the blender.
It's never made a smoothie with frozen fruit and wondered if the motor would burn out. It's never struggled to clean the gump from under the blades. It has no experience.
So Google is rewarding proof of life. Proof that a human being actually touched this product.
Yes. And it means you cannot just use the standard manufacturer descriptions anymore. If you sell a Sony camera and you just copy-paste the text from Sony's website,
You're invisible. You're just a duplicate.
you bring no new value. You need to add your own layer of proof.
What does that look like in practice on the page?
It looks like a heavy, aggressive use of user-generated content, or UGC.
So reviews.
Reviews are table stakes now. Everyone has reviews. I'm talking about the next level.
Yeah.
It's photos submitted by customers actually using the product in the real world.
Right. Someone wearing the jacket on a hike.
It's embedding unboxing videos right in the product description. It's having a section called Our Experts Take, where someone on your staff actually tests the product for a week and writes a detailed, honest review.
We tested this tent in a rainstorm, and here's what happened.
Perfect. That is experience. An AI can't fake that specific sensory detail, at least not convincingly. That experience currency is what separates a real brand from a generic dropshipper.
It's so interesting. To beat the robots, we have to become more human.
That's the great paradox of 2026. The more advanced the technology becomes, the more valuable genuine human experience is.
Okay, let's switch gears and get into the technical foundation. There's a framework from our research I really like. The Noah Kane 80-20 rule. It makes all this feel more manageable.
It does. It's a great way to avoid getting overwhelmed and chasing every new, shiny object.
So what's the rule?
It's simple. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. 80% of your strategy should still be updated traditional SEO.
Meaning solid technicals, a good site structure, keyword-targeted collection pages.
All the fundamentals. They haven't gone away. But the other 20% of your effort needs to be AI-specific.
So that's optimizing for the LLMs, creating that lms.txt file, working on your perception drift.
Exactly. If you go 100% into the new AI stuff, you'll lose your foundation. If you stick 100% to the old traditional stuff, you'll become obsolete. It's a balance.
It's a balanced portfolio.
Ah.
I like it. Now, part of that 80%, the updated traditional part, is schema markup. I know you love to geek out on this.
I do, I confess. It's the secret language of the web.
So for the listener whose eyes just glazed over when they heard the word schema, tell us why this is actually really cool and important.
Okay, think of it this way. Schema is how you spoon-feed data to robots in a way they can perfectly understand.
You're translating for them.
You are. Without schema, a search engine sees $19.99 on your page and has to guess that it's a price. With schema, you're explicitly wrapping that number in code that says, this is the price. The currency is USD. The product is currently in stock.
It's like labeling all the ingredients for a recipe so the chef knows exactly what to do. No guesswork.
Perfect analogy. And in 2026, you need to use structured data for everything. Price, availability, SKU number, shipping details, and this is a big one, your merchant return policy.
Why is the return policy so critical now?
Because, again, it all comes back to trust. AI agents are programmed to be risk-averse on behalf of their users.
They don't want to recommend a bad experience.
Never. So when a user is looking at a search result page and they see a rich snippet for your product that shows the price, the 5-star rating, and the text free 30-day returns,
they're way more likely to click on that one.
Infinitely more likely. That little snippet, that visual confirmation of trust before they even click, is powered entirely by schema. If you're not using it, you're showing up to a formal dinner in a t-shirt.
Right. You're underdressed for the occasion.
Totally.
Let's talk about another technical pillar. Speed. We've been hearing speed matters for a decade. Is it still a big deal?
It's more than a big deal. It's currency. It's non-negotiable. We measure it with core web vitals.
The vitals, like pulse and blood pressure for your website.
Pretty much. The big one is LCP, or largest contentful paint.
Which is what, in plain English?
It's basically how long it takes for the main thing on the screen, the big hero image or the product title, to show up.
And what's the benchmark?
It has to be under 2.5 seconds, period.
What happens if you're at, say, 3.5 seconds?
Research has shown consistently that a 1-second delay in load time can result in a 7% drop in conversions.
7%. Just for 1 second.
Just for 1 second. So if your store does $1 million a year in revenue, you just lost $70,000 because your hero image wasn't properly compressed.
Wow. When you put it in dollar terms, it really hits home.
Yeah.
What's the other vital?
Interaction to next paint, or INP. It used to be interaction delay. This measures how long it takes for the site to react when you tap or click on something.
Like the add to cart button.
Exactly. Users in 2026 have zero patience. If they tap a button and the page freezes for even half a second, they start tapping it again and again.
The rage click.
The rage click. They assume the site is broken and they leave. That delay needs to be as close to zero as humanly possible.
And I'm guessing this is all doubly important on mobile.
It's triply important. We're long past mobile friendly. Google's standard is mobile-first indexing.
Meaning they look your mobile site first, and that's what determines your rank.
Correct. Your desktop site could be the most beautiful, fastest site in the world. If your mobile site is clunky and slow, then as far as Google's concerned, your site is clunky and slow, period.
And the stats show something like 80% of all retail traffic is on mobile now.
Almost 80%. So if you're still designing and testing primarily on your big desktop monitor, you are designing for a minority of your users. You need to be auditing your site on your phone.
Okay, this is all so critical. I want to shift to something I find fascinating because I use it constantly. Visual search.
Yes.
We brought up that 85% growth in Google Lens earlier. That just feels like a complete game changer for any aesthetic-driven industry. Fashion, home decor.
Anything visual. The scenario is so common now. A Gen Z shopper sees a cool pair of sneakers on the street.
They're not going to walk up and ask the person, "Excuse me, where did you get those?"
No way. They discreetly take out their phone, snap a picture.
And Google Lens tells them what they are and gives them 3 places to buy them online.
Instantly.
Yeah.
No keywords were ever typed. In that scenario, your product image is your keyword.
So how do you optimize an image? It's just a picture.
This is where so many stores drop the ball. It starts with the file name.
Right. I see this all the time. The file name is img5678.jpg.
I'm guilty of this myself on my personal photos. But for a business, it's a huge mistake.
The robot has no idea what that means.
It's semantic noise. You need to rename that file before you upload it. It should be Nike Air Max 90-whitemens.jpg.
Descriptive. That seems so simple, but I bet 90% of stores don't do it.
They don't. And the uppercase is the alt text,
Which is there for accessibility, for screen readers.
which is its most important job. But it's also a powerful signal for AI. Don't just write Chelsea boot.
Be more descriptive.
Right. Side profile view of a matte black leather Chelsea boot with a thick rubber sole on a white background.
You're literally painting a picture with words for the algorithm.
You are. And that detailed description is what helps the visual search engine match the user's grainy street photo to your clean product photo.
That makes so much sense. And this leads right into its cousin, voice search. You mentioned earlier that search queries are getting longer.
They're getting more conversational. We call it optimizing for natural language. People don't speak to their phones in keywords.
No one says weather New York.
They ask, hey, what's the weather going to be like in New York this afternoon?
Or for e-commerce. They're not just searching for running shoes.
No, they're asking their smart speaker, what are the best lightweight running shoes for someone with flat feet that cost under $100?
And that's a gold mine of a query because the intent is so high.
It's incredibly high. So if you have an FAQ section on your running shoe category page that has the exact question, are these shoes good for flat feet? And you answer it conversationally.
You have a shot at capturing that voice search result.
A very good shot. The who, what, where, when, why format is incredibly powerful for voice SEO. You're just matching the way real people talk.
And what about video? I'm seeing YouTube Shorts and even TikToks showing up directly in my Google search results now.
Video is the king of retention. We talked about dwell time, how long someone stays on your page being a big ranking signal.
Right. A longer dwell time tells Google the page is interesting.
So what happens if someone lands on your product page and you have a 30-second how-to video or an unboxing video embedded right there?
Watch it, and that's 30 seconds of guaranteed dwell time.
Exactly. It's a huge boost. And now, Google is explicitly indexing these short-form videos. So that 15-second clip showing your product in action, if it's tagged correctly, can show up in the search results on its own.
So it's another entry point to your store.
It's another door. You have to think in this omni-channel way. You need to be discoverable through text, through images, through voice, and through video, all at once.
You can't just be a static catalog anymore.
That model is over.
I want to zoom out a little bit. We've talked a lot about what you do on your website.
On-page SEO.
But there's this whole other universe off your website that determines your fate.
Yeah.
You mentioned perception drift, how the AI decides if you're trustworthy. How do we build that off-page trust if the old model of just buying links is dead?
This brings us to a concept called entity dominance.
Entity dominance. That sounds very powerful.
It is. In the old days, a link was just a vote, a simple +1.
Right.
Now the AI doesn't just count votes, it checks for consensus.
It's fact-checking you against the entire internet.
Yes. It wants to verify that you are who you say you are. So if the ChatGPT model sees your brand mentioned positively on Reddit, in a CNET review, on Quora, in niche blogs, and in a New York Times article,
And the sentiment and facts are all consistent.
it builds a very strong, very trusted knowledge graph entry for you as an entity. It concludes, this brand is legitimate and authoritative.
So you can't just talk about yourself on your own website. You need other reputable people talking about you.
If you're the only one singing your own praises, the AI assumes you aren't relevant. You need that third-party validation. Digital PR, influencer mentions, getting included in best of roundup articles.
That's the work.
That is the new link building.
But getting someone to link to a product page is hard. I mean, who wants to link to a page that just sells a toaster?
Yeah.
It's boring.
You're right. That's the product-led link building trap. The strategy has to be different. You have to create linkable assets.
Okay, give me an example of a linkable asset for a company that sells toasters.
Okay. You could create the single best, most detailed piece of content on the internet about the history of bread, or a scientific study on the perfect temperature for caramelizing sugars in different types of bread, the Maillard reaction,
Something genuinely interesting and valuable.
or a unique industry report. The State of the American Breakfast in 2026. Bloggers and journalists will link to that. It's a resource.
And then from that linkable asset,
You place internal links to your best-selling toasters. You pass the authority, the link juice, from the interesting content over to your boring sales page.
you use the bait to catch the authority, and then you funnel it to where you make the money. That's smart.
It's the most effective off-page strategy right now.
Okay, one last thing on this. I saw a warning in our research notes about fake analytics. What is that trap?
Oh, this is a big one for 2026. Because everyone is understandably anxious about how they're perceived by AI.
A whole industry of tools has popped up.
The whole cottage industry of tools claiming they can perfectly track your AI sentiment or your ChatGPT rank.
See where you rank on Perplexity.
Exactly. And honestly, most of it is snake oil. It's the Wild West. You can't reliably track what every single instance of a generative model is saying about you because the answers are personalized and dynamic.
So the lesson is, don't get obsessed with these new vanity metrics.
Please don't. Focus on what actually matters. Your traffic and your revenue. Are more qualified people finding your site? Are they buying your products? Don't pay for a dashboard that's just guessing what a robot might be thinking about you today.
Solid, solid advice. Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here.
We have.
From agentic commerce to schema to LLMS.txt, it's a lot to take in. So if someone is listening to this, maybe driving, feeling a little overwhelmed,
Which is understandable.
let's distill it all down. What is the formula for survival in 2026? If they can only focus on a few things, what should they be?
I think it boils down to 3 core pillars. If you get these 3 right, you'll be ahead of 90% of your competition.
Okay, pillar number 1.
Technical excellence. This is the foundation. Your site must be fast, it must be mobile first, and it must be rich with schema markup.
And go create that LLMS.txt file.
Go do it today. This is non-negotiable. Without this, the robots can't understand you properly, and the humans will get frustrated and leave.
Okay, technical excellence, pillar number 2.
Content depth. No more thin, generic fluff. Your content must provide decision support.
The comparison guides, the detailed buying guides on category pages.
And you must prove real human experience. That first E in EAT. Use customer photos, staff reviews, unboxing videos. Prove a human is behind the brand.
Got it. And pillar number 3.
Omni-channel presence. You have to be visible where your users are, and they're not just on a Google text search page anymore.
You need to be in visual search with optimized images.
You need to be in voice search with natural language FAQs. And you need to show up in the AI answers by building your entity dominance across the web.
Technical excellence, content depth, and omni-channel presence. That's a very clear roadmap.
It's not easy, but it is clear.
Before we wrap up, leave us with one final thought. Something provocative for people to chew on.
Okay. I've been thinking a lot about the concept of trust.
It's come up a lot today.
It has, because in a world that is being absolutely flooded with AI-generated content, where I can create 10,000 mediocre blog posts in an hour.
Genuine human trust becomes the scarcest resource.
Exactly. Scarcity creates value. If these AI systems flag your brand as unreliable because you lack reviews or you have conflicting information online or you have no offsite authority, you don't just drop a few spots in the rankings.
What happened?
You disappear from the conversation entirely. You're written out of the story the AI is telling. So SEO is no longer just about manipulating algorithms. It's about actively managing your digital reputation so that both machines and humans believe in you. If you can build a brand that is undeniably real and trustworthy, you have a competitive moat that no AI can cross.
That is a powerful place to end. It's not about the code, it's about the credibility.
At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
This has been an incredible deep dive. My brain is full, but my to-do list is actually clearer now.
My pleasure. It was a great conversation.
And for everyone listening, don't just sit on this. Go check your lms.txt file right now. Seriously.
Do it.
And a quick reminder, we report on the landscape, but we don't endorse any specific products or tools. Always do your own research and test everything for yourself.
Always.
Thanks for listening to
The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening to In-Depth SEO. If this episode added a new perspective, visit indepthseo.com for more thoughtful conversations on how search really works.